Good morning and shalom. Today we are reading Deuteronomy chapter 4. And now, O Yashrael, listen to the laws and right rulings which I am teaching you to do, so that you live and shall go in and possess the land which Yahu'ah of your fathers is giving you. Do not add to the word which I command you, and do not take away from it, so as to guard the commands of Yahu'ah your Elohah, which I am commanding you. Your eyes have seen what Yahu'ah did at Baal Peor, for Yahu'ah your Elohah has destroyed from your midst all the men who followed Baal Peor. But you who are clinging to Yahu'ah your Elohah are alive today, every one of you. See, I have taught you laws and right rulings as Yahu'ah my Elohah commanded me to do thus in the land which you go to possess. And you shall guard and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding before the eyes of the people who hear all these laws. And they shall say, only a wise and understanding people is this great nation. For what great nation is there which Yahu'ah as Elohah so near to it, as Yahu'ah our Elohah is to us, whenever we call on him? And what great nation is there that has such laws and righteous right rulings, like all this Torah which I set before you this day? Only guard yourself and guard your life diligently, lest you forget the words your eyes have seen, and lest they turn aside from your heart all the days of your life. And you shall make them known to your children and your grandchildren. The day which you stood before Yahu'ah your Elohah in Horeb, Yahu'ah said to me, assemble the people to me, and I make them hear my words, so that they learn to fear me all the days they live on the earth, and teach them to their children. And you came near and stood at the foot of the mountain, and the mountain burned with fire to the heart of the Shemayim, darkness, cloud, and thick darkness. And Yahu'ah spoke to you out of the midst of the fire. You heard a voice of words, but saw no form. You only heard a voice. And he made known to you his covenant which he commanded you to do, the 10 words, and he wrote them on 2 tablets of stone. And Yahu'ah commanded me at that time to teach you laws and right rulings, for you to do them in the land which you pass over to possess. Therefore diligently guard yourselves, for you saw no form when Yahu'ah spoke to you at Horeb out of the midst of the fire, lest you should do corruptly, and shall make for yourselves a carved image in the form of any figure, like the likeness of a male or female, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, or the likeness of any winged bird that flies in the Shemayim, the likeness of any creature that creeps on the ground, or the likeness of any fish that is in the water under the earth. Unless you lift up your eyes to the Shemayim, and shall see the sun and the moon and the stars, all the host of the heavens, the Shemayim, and you be drawn away into bowing down to them, serving them which Yahu'ah your Elohah has allotted to all the people under all the Shemayim. But Yahu'ah has taken you and brought you out of the iron furnace out of Mishrim, to be his people and inheritance as it is today. And Yahu'ah was enraged with me because of your words, and swore that I would not pass over the Yarden, and that I would not enter the good land which Yahu'ah your Elohah is giving you as an inheritance. For I am to die in this land, I am not passing over the Yarden, but you are passing over, and shall possess that good land. Guard yourselves, lest you forget the covenant of Yahu'ah your Elohah, which he made with you, and shall make you make for yourselves a carved image in any form, as Yahuwah your Elohim has commanded you. For Yahuwah your Elohim is a consuming fire, a jealous ale. When you bring forth children and grandchildren, and shall grow old in the land, and shall do corruptly, and make a carved image in the form of whatever, and shall do what is evil in the eyes of Yahuwah your Elohim to provoke him. And I shall call the Shemayim and earth to witness against you on that day. Then you soon completely perish from the land which from which you pass over the Yarden to possess, and you do not prolong your days in it, but are completely destroyed. And Yahuwah shall scatter you among the peoples, and you shall be left few in number among the nations where Yahuwah drives you. And there you shall serve mighty ones, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, or smell. But from there you shall seek Yahuwah your Elohim, and shall find when you search for him with all your heart and with all your being. In your distress, when all these words shall come upon you in the latter days, then you shall return to Yahuwah your Elohim, and shall obey his voice. For Yahuwah your Elohim is a compassionate El, and does not forsake you, nor destroy you, nor forget the covenant of the fathers which he swore to them. For ask now of the days that are past, which were before you, since the day that Elohim created man on the earth. And ask from one end of the Shemayim to the other end of the Shemayim, whether there has been a word as great as this, or has been heard like it. Has the people heard the voice of Elohim speaking out of the midst of the fire, as you have heard, and live? Or has Elohim tried to go and take for himself a nation from the midst of nations by trials and by signs and wonders, by the battle and by a strong hand and outstretched arm, and by great fearsome deeds, according to all that Yahuwah your Elohim did for you in Mizraim before your eyes? You have been shown it to know that Yahuwah himself is Elohim. There is no one besides him. For the Shemayim he let you hear his voice. To instruct you on the earth he showed you his great fire. And you heard his words out of the midst of the fire. And because he loved your fathers, therefore he chose their seed after them, and brought you out of Mizraim with his presence, with great power, to drive out from before you nations greater and stronger than you, to bring you in to give you their land as an inheritance as it is today. And you shall know today, and shall recall to your heart, and to Yahuwah himself is Elohim in the Shemayim above, and on the earth beneath there is no one else. And you shall guard his laws and his commands which I command you today, so that it is well with you and your children after you, so that you prolong your days on the soil which Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you for all time. Then Moshe separated 3 cities beyond the Yarden toward the rising of the sun, for a manslayer to flee there, he who unknowingly murdered his neighbor, his brother, without having hated him in the past, and might flee to one of the cities and live. Besir in the wilderness, in the level land of the Reubenites, and Ramoth in Gilead for the Gadites, and Golan in Bashan for the Meshanites. And this is the Torah which Moshe set before the children of Yisrael. These are the witnesses and laws and right rulings which Moshe spoke to the children of Yisrael after they came out of Mizraim. Beyond the Yarden in the valley, opposite Beth Peor, in the land of Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, who dwelt at Heshbon, whom Masha and the children of Yashrael had stricken after they came out of Misraim. And they took possession of his land in the land of Og, sovereign of Bashan, 2 sovereigns of the Amorites, who were beyond the Jordan, toward the rising of the sun. From Aor, which is on the bank of Wadi Arnon, even to Mount Sion, which is in Hermon, and all the desert plain beyond the Jordan, as far as the sea of the Araba, below the slopes of Pisgah. And Moshe called to all Yashrael and said to them, Deuteronomy chapter 5, Hear, O Yashrael, the laws and right rulings which I speak in your hearing today. And you shall learn them and guard to do them. Yahu'ah our Elohim made a covenant with us in Horeb. Yahu'ah did not make this covenant with our fathers, but with us, those who are here today, and all of us who are alive. Yahu'ah spoke with you face to face on the mountain from the midst of the fire. I stood between Yahu'ah and you at that time to declare to you the word of Yahu'ah. For you were afraid because of the fire, and you did not go up the mountain, saying, I am Yahu'ah your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Misraim, out of the house of bondage. You have no other mighty ones against my face. You do not make yourself a carved image of any likeness of which is in the Shemayim above, or which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters under the water. You do not bow down to them nor serve them, for I, Yahu'ah your Elohim, am a jealous El, visiting the crookedness of the fathers upon the children to the 3rd and 4th generations of those who hate me. But show loving commitment to thousands, to those who love me and guard my commands. You do not bring the name of Yahu'ah your Elohim to naught. You do not profane his name. For Yahu'ah does not leave him unpunished who brings his name to naught. Guard the Sabbath day to set it apart as Yahu'ah your Elohim commanded you. 6 days you labor and you shall do all your work. But the 7th day is a Sabbath of Yahu'ah your Elohim. You do not do any work, you nor your son, your daughter, your male servant, your female servant, your ox, your donkey, nor any of your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gates, so that your male servant and your female servant rest as you do. And you shall remember that you were a slave in the land of Misraim, and that Yahu'ah your Elohim brought you out from there by a strong hand and a outstretched arm. Therefore Yahu'ah your Elohim commanded you to perform the Sabbath day. Respect your father and your mother, as Yahu'ah your Elohim has commanded you, so that your days are prolonged, and so that it is well with you on the soil which Yahu'ah your Elohim is giving you. You do not murder, you do not commit adultery, you do not steal, you do not bear false witness against your neighbor, your brother. You do not covet your neighbor's wife, nor do you desire in your neighbor's house, his field, his male servant, his female servant, his ox, his donkey, or whatever belongs to your neighbor, your brother. These words which you spoke to all your assembly in the mountain from the midst of the fire, of the cloud, and of the thick darkness, with a loud voice, and he added no more. And he wrote them on 2 tablets of stone and gave them to me. And it came to be, when you heard the voice from the midst of the darkness, while the mountain was burning with fire, that you came near to me, all the heads of your tribes and your elders, and said, See, Yahu'ah our Elohim has shown us his esteem and his greatness, and we have heard his voice from the midst of the fire. Today we have seen that Yahu'ah speaks with man, and he lives. And now why should we die? For this great fire is consuming us. If we hear the voice of Yahu'ah or Yahu'ah anymore, then we shall die. For who is there of all flesh who has heard the voice of the living Yahu'ah speaking from the midst of the fire, as we have, and does live? You go near and hear all that Yahu'ah your Yahu'ah says, and speak to us all that Yahu'ah our Yahu'ah says to you, and we shall hear and do it. And Yahu'ah heard the voice of your words when you spoke to me, and Yahu'ah said to me, I have heard the voice of the words of this people, which they have spoken to you. They have done well in all that they have spoken. Oh, that they have such a heart in them to fear me and to guard all my commands always, so that it might be well with them and go with their children forever. Go, say to them, return to your tents, but you stand here by me, and let me speak to you all the commands and laws and right rulings which you are to teach them. And they shall do them in the land which I am given them to possess. And you shall guard to do as Yahu'ah your Yahu'ah has commanded you. Do not turn aside to the right or to the left. Walk in the ways which Yahu'ah your Yahu'ah has commanded you, so that you live, and it be well with you, and you shall prolong your days in the land which you possess.